on to Kirsten and Shaq of the CP Time, a couple. And for all of you in my audience that doesn't know what CP time is, it's an old school term, a color people time, which means you late. I told you she was chaotic. Kirsten is chaotic. She's unorganized. She's chaotic, just like that closet was of her last week. And here she is having a dinner party, and she doesn't know how to have a dinner party. No decorations, no plates, no forks, not ready to receive people. And she talks about she's a Southern home or roots person. Remember we saw her in that kitchen baking cookies for the open house, and I told you it was all for show. Remember I told you that? Remember I keep talking about Kirsten is for show, but her life in the background is chaotic. Even Shaq said today, here we are going to be late for our own housewarming party. And sure enough, they were late. People knocking on the door, and they don't have one piece of decoration up, no plates, no forks, no type of organization, just like that closet. She's chaotic. This is why she puts so much effort in people not getting close to her and seeing all her messiness on the inside of her life. When if Shaq ever gets the opportunity to open up that Pandora's box, he better step back as he opens up the box, because I'm telling you, there's a whole lot in there. This whole thing around her father, her mother being late for the wedding, barely showing up. This whole thing about closets. It might seem all like small things to you guys, but when you add them all up, this wall she puts up is a wall to protect people from looking on the inside of her. It's just like a person, they keep all their windows shut, all their blinds shut, all their curtains shut in their house. They don't want you to see on the inside. And that's who Kirsten is. This episode comes on, and she's up here talking about, ooh, Shaq over here taking care of me, of putting air in my tires, air pressure in my tires. Girl, so you willing to accept all these nice deeds and favors for him, but it's not even worth a kiss on the cheek? It's not even worth a kiss on the cheek. Let me tell you, it's not even worth a hug. I haven't even seen Kirsten hug a Shaq. Let me tell you, if I'm on the street and I have a flat tire or no air in my tire, and somebody comes along and saves me, I'm going to give a hug. I will give a complete stranger a hug. What is it about a hug where you got to be in love with them to give them a hug? What is it about a hug that you got to think they attractive to give them a hug? I'm telling you, this wall that Kirsten has to do up has nothing to do with a bald head. And it has nothing to do with who Shaq is. It has everything to do with who Kirsten is. And I know everybody keeps telling me that Kirsten is only acting like this because she doesn't like Shaq. I appreciate it, but I'm not in that camp, y'all. I still don't believe it, because you know what that would mean? That would mean Kirsten has to act a lot of hours. All these couples talk about how they film sometimes 10 hours a day, long time. That means Kirsten, if she really is an outgoing person with lots of conversation, deep conversation, all these things I say she doesn't have, what I would have to believe is that for all these filming hours, 8-9 hours a day, she's able to stay in character, which is act like she doesn't like to talk, act like she is an open person. That's what I would have to believe. I would have to believe that she's able to stay in character of trying to pretend she doesn't talk when she really does talk. No, we are seeing the real Kirsten. This is who she is in real relationships. That's what I believe. I do believe it. I don't think she's acting for us, because I don't think anyone can act this long for this many hours in this many weeks. If you are a talkative person and you talk naturally, how can you go 8 weeks and pretend like you're not a talker? Kirsten's not acting. She's not a character. This is really who she is. This wall of hers is real. This wall hasn't been put up just for Shaq only. This ain't a wall made especially for Shaq. This is a wall that Kirsten carries around her whole life. This is nothing new for Shaq. And she talks about the honeymoon, how romantic the honeymoon was. Every time you see Kirsten, she's all up under Shaq now, leaning on him, holding his hand, or like Shaq said, now she's rubbing my bald head all the time. And this is all because she's so-called not attracted to him anymore. No, this is a wall of fear. This is a wall where she's slowly inching towards him like a little scared dog. She wants to be loved. She wants to be cared for. She wants all these things. She wants him to put air in her tires. She wants him to wrap his arms around her. She wants all these things, but she's scared to let go. It's fear. It's not a bald head. And it's not over this idea that Shaq somehow has some sort of a feminine energy. No. Just because he makes bow ties, his energy is not screaming feminine energy or that he's batting for the other team. I don't get that energy from Shaq. I don't get it at all. Just because he's not over masculine, I don't like that. I don't like when men are getting called, batting for the other team just because they're not over masculine. And somehow or another, they have to show all this. We're going to get into that with Nicole and Chris because I'm a little bit upset with her this week, too. I don't like when people require other things from other people so that they can stay who they are. Just because you don't want to kiss or you don't want to show affection, now what you want me to do is you want me to carry the whole load and become overly aggressive or whatever so you can stay right where you are. No, why don't you improve? Why I got to be the one making all the adjustments so you can stay where you are? Why don't you have a better emotional regulation and better control over how you show up in the world? Why do I have to do all your work for you because you don't want to move your 2 feet? No, I don't like that. I don't like when people put it on me to do work they need to do. No, I think Shaq is just fine of the way he is in terms of the way he operates. I don't think he has a whole lot of feminine energy. I actually don't. And Kirsten's still going with this little fake story talking about I'm not really a good kisser. She lying. She is lying on that too. So what? Why you need 6 inches and you don't like to kiss? Oh, that's right. We forgot. She likes to do it like Airris does. From behind. Don't have to look at each other. Don't have to kiss. I'm telling you, these two, Airris and Kirsten, in that area of emotional issues, are they in the same category? No kissing, sex, from behind, favorite position, no talking. Just like Airris don't want to talk, Airris don't want to look in your eyes. She doesn't want to kiss, which means she don't even want to look in your eyes or look at your face. Horrible. Kirsten says she's trying to open up to Shaq, but she can't do it. Basically, she said, I've been doing this for so many years. It's hard. It's hard. Exactly. It is hard. That's why I tell you guys, this is not acting. This is not acting. This is who she is. This is what's easy. What's hard is exactly what she's saying, opening up. Because if you're really a person who's an open book, you can't be shut up. You definitely can't be shut up for 8 weeks. You know, much as I talk, y'all, I'm here on this YouTube channel talking all the time. You think you could get me to act on Married at First Sight and shut my mouth for 8 weeks? Absolutely not. I couldn't act for 8 weeks. 10 hours a day filming, 8 weeks. No. Your personality comes through on these shows. I don't care how much they say or edit. When they're filming this much and have so much footage on you, your personality is bound to come through. You can't act for this long. The cousins was trying to give them some good advice. One of those male cousins said, you know what? I wasn't attracted to your cousin at first. I don't think he was telling that to Kirsten or someone. There's a man admitting that at first he wasn't attracted to a woman, but attraction grew. So people say it can't happen with men. There was a man on TV right now telling us that, hey, you know what? At first I wasn't attracted to her in that way. But as we started to get to know each other and I found all these things, my attraction grew. So there's someone telling you that attraction can grow with a man. That's why I said things are different nowadays. These men are different and so are the women. Things are different. Men are different and women are different. Sure, there's some stereotypes, some things that are still true. But here's a man telling us that attraction did grow. As soon as they asked her that question, do you want to be with him for the rest of your life? She was like, she started doing that thing she does with her lips. When Kirsten's over there gets nervous and starts getting asked about her feelings, Kirsten does this thing with her lips and her tongue. Y'all need to pay attention to it. I said it's like almost like a little tail. It's when she doesn't want to reveal some feelings or she's scared to say the answer or something. It's almost like she sinks into like this little girl body and she stares off into space. As soon as they asked her that question, she was like, I don't know. But Kirsten's saying it's getting better. It's getting better. It's like Kirsten is like trying to heat up a 6,000 square foot house with a little old space heater. This girl take a long time to warm up. A very long time. I don't know what kind of hurt and pain is in Kirsten's life when it comes to men, but there's a lot of it. Kirsten's been hurt by a lot of men. You don't get women like this at her age, acting this closed off, this guarded, unless there's some hurt and pain in their past relationships. And she doesn't talk about it. Nicole talks about her hurt and pain. Other people talk about their hurt and pain. But once again, between the Airrises and the Kirstens of the world, they act like there's no hurt and pain in their relationships, but they showing up in the world with all these walls and guardsmen standing around them. Kirsten's another one. She needs some therapy. She absolutely needs some therapy. But just like Airris, I feel sorry for Kirsten. I'm telling you, when you are trapped in a body and you can't even let your emotions out, that's a horrible place to be. It's really torment. It's really torment. So I hope that she finds some help. I'm still not giving up on these two because I think Shaq is going to wait for her. I think he's going to have some patience with her. I think he's going to wait on her. But he starts talking in this episode saying, you know what, am I being a little bit too patient? Because like I told you, Shaq is picky too. They got a lot of things in common. He's picky too. But I think he's still got a little bit more patience in his tank with her because he likes her looks. He likes a lot of things about her. So he's not going to walk on her like Don walked out on, not like Don walked out on a Mack. He's got a little bit more patience in his tank. I hope a Kirsten comes around. I hope she can heat up faster than a space heater in a 6,000 square foot house. I really hope it can happen. Now we're moving on to Nicole and Chris, and their party theme was Flamingo. Thought it was a cute theme. And kudos to Nicole for getting all the decorations together, getting the attire together, getting the party theme together. But I'm going to have to dig into Miss Nicole a little bit today on this episode because some of the parts we said about her are starting to shine through. And I'm going to get into her because she's putting all the work on Chris, saying Chris needs to stand up to her. No, he doesn't. Because one thing I've noticed about Chris is he does express himself. Chris doesn't not express himself. The problem is when Chris expresses himself, Miss Nicole comes over or runs him over and disregards what he says. So there was several times in this episode where Chris explicitly said what he wanted. He didn't shy. She even told us later on that he wanted tacos to be the theme. And Nicole said no. She didn't want tacos. She wanted to be a flamingo party. He said, okay, we can do flamingo. I'm with that. That's cool. I make a buffalo sandwich. No, that food doesn't go with the theme of the party. We need more Hawaiian or tropical foods. Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you, this is what I don't like about people. I don't like when people say they want something from you. You give them what they want, and then they still run over you. Well, when do you have to change? When do you have to do something? Why does Chris need to say the same things over and over again? If I told you I wanted tacos and you say no and I say okay, why is it my fault now that I don't keep saying, well, I want tacos, well, I want tacos, well, I want tacos? Why do I have to say it 10 times? Why can't you listen the first time? This is what I tell people. Why do I have to be more forceful? Why do I have to scream? Why do I have to yell? Why do I have to beat you down? Why do I have to say things 10 times? I actually told you what I wanted. I wanted to make some buffalo sandwiches. I wanted a taco theme. You said no. But then you tell me I let you have your way and I fall down too easily. Why don't you learn to regulate yourself? Why don't you learn to listen the first time? Why do I have to be a more? You the one that doesn't listen. You the one that's running me over. That's like a car running over a person in a crosswalk and telling the person in the crosswalk, the reason I ran you over is because you wasn't tough enough. No, I looked both ways. I walked out into the intersection. I'm in the crosswalk. I did what I was supposed to do. You didn't do what you were supposed to do, and that was stop. And stop. You're supposed to stop at the crosswalk, but now you're blaming me for you running over me because you didn't stop. No, Nicole, you can't blame Chris for you running over him. He's in the crosswalk. He looked both ways. He told you he wanted tacos. He told you he wanted buffalo sandwiches. He told you he didn't really want to wear that shirt. But you try to keep going and you don't look at the stop sign that says stop. The accident is your fault. you need to stop at the stop sign when you see it. But instead of a stop sign, you want him to have a glaring red light. You want him to have a barricade. You want him to have a security guard, a crossing guard at the crosswalk. Also, you know how to stop. There's going to be lights and sirens and all this other thing, so you learn how to stop at the crosswalk. Why isn't good enough for him to say what he wants? You listen to it the first time, and then you just do it. I don't like when people do that. And that's what I see Nicole. But Nicole is realizing, because she said, now I'm feeling like I'm going to walk all over him. And I'll tell you this. When people want to know why they sometimes are in toxic relationships with men who treat them badly, they also have to wonder, what did they do, one, to attract those men, and what are they doing in the relationship to keep it going? So Nicole's whole thing in life is that she attracts a toxic man and they treat her badly. Well, maybe part of that energy that was going on in the relationship was she was with men who were just as stubborn as her. So when she would buck up and she wouldn't listen to them and she would try to be a freight train on them, they didn't do like Chris did and say, whatever, you can have your way. What they did was they fought back. And now it becomes a nasty fight. And now you got men are burning her with a cigarette. Sometimes people are in fights because you don't know how to walk away. Not because the other person is all the problem. And I'm seeing with Nicole, she better learn how to walk away. She better learn how when there's a stop sign, she needs to stop. And she can't always rely upon people doing all this extra stuff, screaming and yelling and standing up to her just so she won't walk over him. Because then what you start producing is you start producing a person who will start to abuse you because you keep wanting their real masculine side to come out. You want their aggression to come out, so they got to handle you. I don't like it. I didn't like this one bit with Nicole. I hope she gets on top of it. I'm still in the boat, but I hope she gets on top of it, and I hope she doesn't put the work on him. I hope she puts the work on herself. Because I'm kind of like Chris in a lot of ways too. Stuff I don't care about or that I'm indifferent with, I'm like, I don't care what you do. Do whatever you want to do. But stuff that I'm really adamant about or I have a really strong opinion about, I express my opinion. You see me on this YouTube, I express my opinion. But stuff that I don't care about, that is not any real consequence, I'd be like, I don't care. Like that, you guys will notice in my comments, I'll never get in an argument with anyone in comments. What for? What for? Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Everyone is entitled to their thoughts, all that. It doesn't bother me that people think differently than me. In fact, I actually enjoy it because it gives me a chance to think outside of myself, to see how other people. That's why, if you notice, I respond to all my comments. I respond to all you guys because I really like reading people's different opinions. And it doesn't bother me when someone thinks differently than me or people tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. I could be wrong. A wrong is nothing wrong with being wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with being wrong. Wrong does not mean I don't eat. Wrong does not mean I don't sleep. So I'm like Chris. When things are not that important, I could care less. I really could care less. But if something is important, I will speak up and say my mind. And I don't like when I do speak up, someone would try to run over me and not listen to me. So that's why I'm kind of empathizing with Chris a little bit here, because I'm like, why do I have to do all that to be heard? Why do I have to stand up to you? Why can't you just listen to me the first time I say something? That reminds me of like, with kids or something, when like, why do I have to repeat things 5 times? How would you feel if your kid came up to you and said, the reason I didn't do it is because you didn't say it 16 times? I shouldn't have to say it 16 times. You should listen the first time I said it. But a lot of people use that as an excuse just to do what they want to do anyway. They like to say, well, I didn't hear what you wanted. You didn't say what you wanted, so I did what I want to do. No, you want to do what you want to do anyway. And now you're trying to say you didn't know what I wanted. You knew what I wanted. I told you what I wanted. That's just your excuse so you can kind of make up for you're going to just do what you want to do. She wanted the theme of Flamingo Party. She wanted to run the whole show. She wanted to be in control. And so she tried to make it seem like Chris really had a say in everything. He didn't really have a say from the beginning. But she couldn't say that. She couldn't say that I want to take the lead. I want to make all the decisions. I want to do everything. I'm really not interested in what you want to do. So she tried to pretend like she wanted to incorporate his ideas, but she didn't. And then when she didn't incorporate his ideas, she tried to say, was because he didn't speak up. Girl, get out of here, Gina. I'm about to call her Gina. Get out of here, Nicole, with this. She said, well, I don't want him just to do things for me. Just for me, I want him to do things that also make him happy and keep me in check. I don't want to be responsible for keeping nobody in check. No man, no woman, nothing. I don't want to I got too many other things to do in life, and regulate my own emotions, regulate my own feelings, or regulate my own mouth, to now I got to regulate and control your mouth and your feelings. I don't want that job. I hate when people put that job on other people. Can you regulate me? No, I can't regulate you. Are you paying me? Are you paying me to regulate you? If you're going to write me a check, then I'll regulate you. Other than that, it's not my job. You do your own work. But I still have high hopes for these two. I think they're going to work it out. I think they have enough good things, solid things in a relationship that they'll be able to work it out. And I actually think they're going to make a good pair, because the fact that Chris doesn't need to over insert himself in situation is actually going to give it's actually going to give Nicole the opportunity to take leadership more often, because she's decisive. She likes to make decisions. And Chris isn't going to need to make all the decisions. He's perfectly comfortable with letting her make a lot of the decisions, and he's okay with it. So she ought to be thankful for that, because that's the person she actually needs, because Nicole likes control. She likes to make decisions, and she really can't be with another man who likes to make all the decisions and have control. They would butt heads. Next thing you know, he's burning her with a cigarette. They're a good match. This is a good match, y'all. And now we're on to Airris and Jasmin, and maybe I should start calling this a throuple, Airris, Jasmin, and Phileena. Let me clear this up right away about no wearing bra Phileena. First of all, I want to be very clear that I have no problem with Phileena saying her cousin wasn't ready for marriage. I have no problem for Phileena calling out her cousin on all his nonsense and BS stuff, which I think she did a good job on that. Let me tell you the problem I have with Phileena. I have a problem with Phileena with her hate and her disrespect of Jasmin. That's what I understand. That's why I know it's more than him not being married. Because the way Phileena has decided to go in on Jasmin, calling her fake, a beauty queen, pageantry, a scripted answers, all this other kind of stuff. I don't want to come to her party. What for? What is all of the hate for, unless you've got to stick up your butt, a bone to pick with your cousin because you want something more, wanted something more, or some other kind of reason. That's the problem I have with Phileena. What she got for Airris, you know what? If she only had the heat for Airris, this would be a completely different scenario. I would be cheering Phileena on and waving a bra in the air at the same time. I would be cheering her on and waving a bra in the air, and that would be our rallying cry to say, again on Phileena, again on Phileena. But the fact that she likes to come for Jasmin, I just don't get it. I don't like it. I don't understand it. And then when Jasmin told Airris she didn't want her to come to the party, and he kept insisting that she come to the party, and then went behind Jasmin's back, invited Phileena. Phileena said, I don't want to come anyway. And then he went back and said that they have poor communication because Jasmin should have told him up front that she didn't want Phileena to come. Another lie. Do we have another liar on our hands, people? It seems like we do. Is this the season of liars? At first, I narrowed it down to Gina and Mack. This episode, I have added Dom, and I've moved Dom up to quite a bit high on the list. She's giving Gina a run for her money. And now I'm looking at Airris and saying, you really gonna tell us that you didn't know Jasmin didn't want Phileena at the dinner party, and then you say you both got communication issues, but obviously her communication issues are the ones with the problem. You notice what Airris does. Anytime there's a problem, it's always a Jasmin's problem. I don't like Jasmin because she doesn't have a big booty and she's not my type. Her problem, not his problem. Although I know he's the one with the emotional trauma, it's her problem because she doesn't necessarily look the way he would want her to look. And when I say her problem, which means he doesn't need to do anything differently, she would have to be the one. She would just have to look a whole different kind of way. It's her problem. When the whole thing happened with coming to the dinner, him going over and inviting Felina, even though Jasmin said she didn't want her there. He said, well, I still asked her to come because there was miscommunication because Jasmin didn't make it clear that she didn't want her there. Yes, she did. She made it clear. We all saw the tape before you even went over there. And it was clear when you were doing the guest list. She said, no, I don't want her here. But you overlooked it and did what the hell you wanted to do. But once again, there he is blaming Jasmin. He says he feels uncomfortable in the relationship because and feels guilty because he says Jasmin is attracted to him and he's not attracted to her. I'm so tired of hearing this. I'm tired of him saying it, and I'm tired of Jasmin repeating it. Who cares? Who cares anymore? Because we already know that Airris has many more problems than this whole issue around a big booty and a smile. Then later on in the episode, he starts talking about the problem with me and Jasmin. We could move forward when he's talking to the friends at the housewarming, talking about, we just need a plan. Instead of just going to work and coming home, we need a plan. Well, do one. You're supposed to be the leader of the home. Come up with a plan. Everything is Jasmin's fault. Everything is for Jasmin to fix. Everything is for Jasmin to feed me grapes, feed me lobster, wipe my booty, take care of me, come up with a plan, grow a bigger booty, get a better smile. What are you doing, Airris? What do you do? And then next week we find out he's got COVID, and next thing you know, he's gonna want Jasmin to take care of him while he has COVID. Girl, I'm so sick of Airris. Airris doesn't do anything but sit back and point out things that are not right and then ask for other people to do things to make them right. I'm sick of him. When that cousin came and sat down with Airris for that little one-on-one date, did you see how she walked in all smiling? That's why I know this is more than just about a Jasmin thing. She was so excited to see Airris. Yeah, she was just so excited to see Airris. She was all smiles. And when she heard that the marriage wasn't going well, she lit up. She lit up. Every time something came out of Airris's mouth that she liked in regards to the marriage failing or not doing well, she was glowing. But when she was afraid to hear what was going to happen next, you could see she clammed up. When Airris told her, there really wasn't that much romance on the honeymoon, she was like, oh, so you're not attracted to her. So you're not attracted to her. She was lighting up. She was like a kid in a candy store. She was just so excited to hear this news that this marriage was going nowhere. And all Airris can do is keep talking about, I love her inside. If there was ever a problem, I know she would check people. Why she gotta check people for you? Now she's your bodyguard too. Now she's the person that's gotta protect you and stand in for you. He's like, oh, and if I ever got sick, I knew she would take care of me. Why is this all about Jasmin being his nursemaid, his security guard, all these things? What does he do? What is his value in a relationship? Does he think a sex and making an R&B video is something of value to people, and the fact that they want to be married to that? He brings nothing to the table. What? A blank face? A blank face. Have we even seen Airris smile? Have we seen Airris smile? How many emotions does Airris have? At least maybe one or two at the most. One or two. No more than one or two emotion have we seen him have. Just like I told you guys last week, his only relationships are with images, inanimate objects, things that aren't physical, relationships with movie stars on TV, people in magazines, the obituary of his father. He probably got a blow-up doll at home. R&B videos that he watches on TV and he recreates at his home with women that he probably doesn't even look at, because he doesn't look at any woman. He looks to the side, out in space. He doesn't like to talk. He's a robot, just like I told you guys last week. More of this robotic Airris is on my television screen. AI, artificial intelligence. This Felina girl, but she was on him. She started going and said, well, if you don't, just go ahead and have sex with your wife. But by that time, she could say those things because she knew he didn't like her. Now she's acting all encouraging. Yeah, just go ahead and have sex with your wife, because now she knows that he doesn't really like her. Now what she's prompting him to do is go ahead and use her. Go ahead and use her body. Go ahead and just use her up and dog her out, probably like you dogged me out. Probably like how when you had sex with me and threw me away. Do her the same way you did me. Have sex with her and throw away. Because in the same breath, she says, I don't want to come to no housewarming party when I know this is going nowhere. Well, if you know it's not going nowhere, why did you just tell him a minute ago to have sex with her? She ain't looking out for Jasmin. She's not really looking out for Jasmin when she says you need to be having sex with your wife. She's setting Jasmin up to get used for sex and thrown away because that's what she wants. She don't like Jasmin. She wants Jasmin to have the same outcomes that she has out here in dating. A used for sex and thrown away. I can already tell. This girl has hate for Jasmin, and I really don't know why. Jasmin didn't do nothing to her, but kudos for Jasmin for standing up for herself and saying, I don't care. She ain't coming to my house. Good for you, Jasmin. Jasmin says, I don't care. I don't feel comfortable with her, and she's not coming to my house, and I'm not willing to put on no good show for your cousin if she got to walk up here and be disrespectful to me. A period, point blank. You don't like me, you're not attracted to me, and I ain't attracted to your cousin. I'm not attracted to her personality. So if you don't want to be cuddled and hung up and hanging all over me, I don't want to be in her presence. Good for you, Jasmin, for drawing a boundary and laying down the law and holding your ground. Good for you. And Jasmin's family don't like Airris. Jasmin's family realized Airris is full of crap. When they went in there and threw that little test question at him and said, well, what if she said, I'll give up all my dogs? He was like, oh, that would be wonderful. Wrong answer. That's when they knew he don't care nothing about Jasmin. That's when they knew he ain't got a soul in his body because you asking people to give up their dogs. You're not coming up with no other solutions. He said, well, you can keep a Duchess. He likes Duchess. But other than that, get rid of all of them other dogs. And then he started talking about, I don't know where we would live. What do you mean you don't know where we would live? I thought we could go live in your house, Airris. You got that nice, a 2-story home with a man cave and all these bedrooms. Or is that really your house? Because that is not the same house that Pastor Cal went and spoke to him about, because when Pastor Cal was in that bedroom with Airris, his closet was empty and there was nothing in that room. But yet when he goes over and shows Jasmin's that house, he got obituaries of his dead father all over the dresser. If that was there on the home visits, they would have picked up on that in the home visits and they would have been talking about that then. That wasn't there. I don't know where. Airris must have when he first moved to Tennessee, he must have still been living with his mama, had an Airbnb or something. I don't know. All these people are lying with their homes. Like people say, a Kirsten, a Mack, Airris. The Airbnbs are full in Tennessee. Somebody probably couldn't even book no Airbnb in Tennessee because all these Married at First Sight people done booked them up. Nicole and Chris over here wondering where they're going to stay after this thing is over and they got 3 dogs. Go stay in Airris's Airbnb because we know that ain't his house. That is not his house because he's over here still talking about even if he and Jasmin were together or where they going to live. Dead giveaway. See, this is what happens when you lie and can't stay on script. You can't stay in character. Your stuff start not making sense. Jasmin's on the after party, and she says that Mack and Airris are probably the closest of the guys on the show. Of course, because they both out here living in California. I already know Airris is probably gonna move back to California too. Watch when his IGs open up. He gonna be might be in California. I know Mack gonna be in California because this is where his money is. He definitely gonna be in California. Airris might stay in Tennessee because I think he got a job out there now. But if he's remote, he might be in California. But he might still be in Tennessee. But Mack, I already know he in California. But on the after party, Jasmin says that Airris and Mack are the closest. And that was why when they were having that group setting and Mack throws out that question about has anybody had sex yet, Jasmin was kind of upset with Mack because she knows Mack already knows the questions. But we know that Mack was told to ask that question by production. Mack didn't come up with that question all on his own. Why would he want to talk about that when he's about to over here announce a divorce? It wasn't him who wanted to talk about that. That was the producers because they always pick somebody out of the crowd to bring up the sex question. And this time they brought up Mack. But Jasmin says he already knew the answer because he and Airris talk all the time. We know they do. But that was all that was on this show. We still waiting for Airris to do something because all he tends to do is, like I said, point out what Jasmin needs to do, what she does well, what else she can do, like she is his servant, like she is his servant. I'm so tired of it. So first we're gonna go ahead and start talking about Mack and young and dumb. She over here acting young and dumber. Let me say acting because I don't want to call no one dumb out here in the streets, but she sure is acting dumb. I'm gonna start a protest. I need to get some picket signs made and say, let her go. Let her go. Throw her back in the ocean with that other catfish she likes to fish for. Catch and release, Mack. This is called a catch and release. You know when you catch a fish, You look at it, you hold it up, and then you go, okay, I'm gonna throw it back in the ocean. That's what Mack needs to go ahead and do with Dom, and don't worry about it. And it looks like he did it. I already know Dom. I already know Mack is back in Los Angeles. Mack, drop down in my comments or my DMs, and we can have lunch and we can talk about it. Because I already know you back in California with your weed business. Because I already knew you wasn't really gonna be going to no Tennessee. But nonetheless, Mack, I'm still gonna take up for you this episode because Miss Dom, she's something else. I know everybody's gonna want to say this is all because Dom is young. Dom is young. But I'm gonna tell you guys, this is more than being young. I was young once. I didn't wake up like this old. I was young once, and I'm gonna tell you that Dom has more things going on than being young. She's a liar, actually. And lying is not an issue of being young. It's an issue of poor morality. And yeah, I'm going to say it, a poor morality. There have been a couple of instances where I felt that it was more of a moral issue and not necessarily being young. When she was up there in that stripper club, putting shots down her breast, having a male stripper drink from her breast, even though she was on camera, even though she was getting married the next day, and she was doing it in public and everything else. I thought, wow, that's pretty disrespectful of her upcoming husband. Now remember, she talks about her attitude now is all because of Mack. But when we look back, Dom had a lot of things that she was doing that was disrespectful back then. Now we see in these clips, later on, she's going to be kissing on Clint, trading spit. And that's another morality issue. She don't know nothing about the girl code. Who goes around and dating their friends' ex-boyfriends, and let alone their ex-husband? That's a morality issue. That's not necessarily being young, because even when I was young, I wouldn't do that. It's not an issue of being young. It's a morality issue. It's the same thing I told you last week when she was up there approaching a Pastor Cal like he was her age and not giving him any respect. It's the same thing she did when she was disrespectful to Mack and telling him, bro, be quiet. And now we see in this episode, she is full of lies. Hey, y'all, if you didn't catch my video, my little fun video I did this week, I did a little fun video, and I said, who's the biggest liar in Nashville, Tennessee? And I really only pitted Gina against Mack, because I know Mack's lying. But we pitted Gina against Mack. But now I might need to go back and have a write-in candidate. You know how you get ready to vote and the name of the person isn't on the ballot and there's a little line that says write-in? I might should have changed the ballot to say Dom, because she really is coming in as a strong leader for the biggest liar in Nashville. She's on the after party, y'all, and I'm going to do a video on the after party. And on the after party, she tells Keisha that she would have stayed in the marriage if Mack would have just outright said, hey, I want to give this marriage a shot. I think you should stay. This is what this girl said on the after party. You guys have to watch my after party video. I'm not even going to try to figure out and find the clip of where Mack said it, because we all know that Mack said he didn't want the divorce and he was willing to try. But this girl got on the after party and said the only reason she left was because Mack didn't want to be in the marriage. And if he would have stood up and said, hey, I want to give this marriage a second chance, she would have stayed in the marriage. A liar, liar, a pants on fire. The other problem I had with Dom this week was, did you see the conversation she had with her mama? Now you guys know how this has been going the whole life of Dom with her mother. Dom does one thing out in the streets. Then she comes over to her mother and she recounts the story to her mother, but she lies through the whole story. This is probably why her mama thought she was ready to get married, because what Dom does for every relationship that she's in, she comes home and she talks to her mother, because they're best friends, they're best buddies, but she doesn't tell her mother the real truth. She doesn't tell her mother what she actually did. She tells her mother a different version of the story. So Dom can act like the victim, her mom can think she's the victim, and then her mom can go out here and try to hook her up with an arranged marriage. And there you go. That's how we got here, people. We got here through a series of events. We got here from a mama being overly invested in her child's life and not letting her child live her life as an adult, we got here from a mother probably being too close friends with her daughter, okay, and telling her daughter too many things about relationships, the bad things. That's why her daughter's all jaded. And we got here because Dom, at the root of her, has a morality issue and she's a liar. That's how we got here, people. It is a combination of things. It's just not one thing. It is just not one thing. It is a combination of things, and we saw it all on display during this episode. It was horrible to watch. It was horrible to watch, to see a young lady like Dom, who was pretty on the outside, sit there and have all those lies come out of her mouth. It was ugly to watch. But I tell you one thing, a Mack is going to have him an alcoholic beverage in his hand. I told you guys, I think Mack might be borderline alcoholic. I told you guys that from the beginning, and I'm not going to back up off of it. There's so much stuff that I don't like about Dom, but you know what? I can't let Mack all the way off the hook, because I told you his whole premise for coming to the show was a lie. And I'm telling you, he is not going to let an episode go by without a drink in his hand. And when Dom was sitting up there acting a fool, Mack was like, a bottoms up. A bottoms up. He is not going to go too many scenes without a drink in his hand. At first I thought, okay, well maybe it's Jamaica because everybody drinks in Jamaica, but Go back, watch all his scenes. He always got a drink. Always got an alcoholic beverage in his hand. But he kept trying to tell Dom, I want to make it work. I want to give it a chance. Pastor Cal sat there and said he thought they should give it a chance. Everybody's telling them. Nicole told her, I think she should give it a chance. And then she sat over there on the after party and said, well, I would have done it if Mack would have said he wanted to give it a chance. This girl is a mess. And then she come back after all the hoopla, after they had the little group dinner and everything. And she said, well, maybe I'll give it a chance. We knew she was lying. Another lie. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another lie. We knew she was lying about giving another chance. And here she is talking about how Mack stuck his tail between his legs when Pastor Cal came in, and Mack didn't stand up for the things he really believed in, supposedly, and he cowered under the pressure of Pastor Cal. Well, guess what Dom just did? I guess she cowered under the pressure of Nicole. She cowered under the pressure of the group to say maybe she would give it another chance when she knew darn well she wasn't interested in giving another chance. As soon as she got back to the apartment, Mack says, well, you being honest? And she goes, oh, no, not really. This girl, another morality issue, a hypocrite. The very thing she talks about with Mack, she's all those things. When she said that Mack was a complainer, she's a complainer. When she talks about how Mack so-called stuck his tail between his legs, guess what? She just did the same thing. She's a hypocrite, she's a liar, and she's got morality issues. This is more than being just a young and acting dumb. She needs Jesus. She needs some Jesus in her life. Dom said she was a very person. You just dissolved a whole marriage in 5 days. 5 days. I wait longer for the cable man to come to my house and fix my cable than you did for a marriage. And you talk about you was patient. 5 days. Dang, I'm still waiting on Spectrum to come over here and help fix my internet a little bit better. This girl, 5 days for a marriage, and she classifies herself as patient. I'm going to tell you, when Pastor Cal was giving her that speech, and you know what, it was a good speech talking about what marriage takes. It takes grit, it takes determination, its peaks, its valleys, and how she gave up on the first valley, which she did. The first valley, she was out the door. He says, you know what, you maybe I was wrong, Dom, and maybe 25 is too young to get married. Maybe you weren't ready. I was actually very happy to see Pastor Cal say that, because in a lot of ways he was also admitting that he was wrong. He was wrong in believing she was ready. So that was a partial admission to him and say, you know what, maybe I was wrong. But you know what Dom said? No, I'm not. I'm not too young. It's what I want. It's what all I wanted. She's the only one out here thinking she's not too young. When they were sitting there on that couch, I know Mack finished that bottle of red wine. I know he finished the whole bottle because Dom wasn't drinking and the bottle was already half empty. I know he finished that whole bottle because Dom is almost going to make me drink to have to watch these episodes with her. I really don't need her to come back. I hope she isn't like Alyssa did when she left and she's running around still trying to hang out with the ladies. I hope not, especially since now we know she over here kissing on Gina's man, which we know is going to be Gina's ex-man, but it doesn't matter because there is a girl code. And according to all the MAFS alumni, y'all are like family. So wait, you know what? It's even past a girl code. It's almost like incest. It's almost like your best friend married, one of your good girlfriends married your ex-husband. Morality issues. So she said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. Pastor Cal was like, quit what? Quit what, Miss Young Lady? Express yourself. Articulate exactly what you're trying to tell me because I don't want to read between the lines. Exactly what are you quitting? I quit it all. And she gathered up her little box and her chucks, her little Converse chucks. This girl, she gathered up her Converse chucks and put them on her box, and she sashayed on out of there crying like she was the victim. Girl, you didn't come up here and wreak havoc. You don't wreak havoc on the show. You don't wreak havoc with your mama because your mama was looking forward to a housewarming party. You don't wreak havoc with Mack. You done moved all the way from California to Tennessee just to find a wife, and now you walking out the door with a box and your Converse chucks. And you the victim? Girl, you're not the victim. When she had this little luncheon date with her mama was disappointed. Her mama was like, I thought I was going to get some more camera time at this housewarming party. She was like, I thought I was going to finally get to marry you off because her mama might have got an inkling that she might have raised a little bit of a spoiled brat. So maybe her mama was thinking maybe my best bet is to marry her off. I don't know what the case is. But she sat up there in front of her mama, and the way she was talking with her mom, basically putting all the blame on Mack. And her mama was trying to say, well, you think there's anything you could have done differently? She was like, no, nothing I could have done differently. Nothing at all. The mama said, I wish I would have had a chance to talk to Mack. Basically, I wish I would have had a chance to get in your business even more and talk to him, because I'm a bit disappointed and maybe you didn't give him a chance. And you know what Dom said? I'm not here to give nobody a chance. She said, I didn't come here to work with nobody, to work with no one in process. Girl, you a work in process. I tell you, it is so crazy to see someone say that they're not here to work with anybody who's a work in progress or be patient with anyone or give anyone a chance because they got all their stuff together, and you look at them and go, girl, you ain't got nothing together. Nothing. It is one of the biggest cases of you can't see yourself in the mirror, you young, you act dumb, and you a hypocrite, and you got a morality issue. Remember, I was running down all the problems with Mack. I was saying he was from Flint, Michigan. He was in the cannabis industry, smoking weed. I know he likes to drink. He likes fast women, fast cars, and drive Corvettes. He lied to us and told us that he was that he happened to move here to Nashville, but he really moved here for the television show. Remember, I ran all his red flags down. Well, now we can run down all of Dom's. Morality issue, young, acting dumb, and a hypocrite. And can't walk in no heels, and can't pick out no good outfits that fit her body. It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. But listen to her. She doesn't have anything to work on. She's not no work in progress. Nobody needs to be patient with her because she's already where she needs to be. She's already and ready to go. Girl, no, you're not. Just like Pastor Cal told her, after this, you don't need to get in no relationship. Pastor Cal told her, I've never heard Pastor Cal tell anyone that, but Pastor Cal told her, after this, you need to sit your little butt down, and you don't need to date anyone. He says you need to take yourself all the way off the market, and not just slow down. He said, take yourself all of the way off the dating market, all the way. Dom says she expected more from Mack because he was older than her. Should I expect more for Dom just because she's 25? I don't expect to get no liar. I mean, aren't you supposed to learn not to lie way back when you was a young kid? So, when she's talking about how he is not emotionally developed or intellectually developed or whatever she want to say, he's young for her, young for his age. But she's got some issues too. I mean, dang, you still lying this much at age 25 when we got all this tape on you. So you lying about things that we got tape on. You trying to gaslight us, Dom? You trying to make us believe what we saw is what we didn't see? I know she's going to blame it on the edits. She's going to blame it on the edits. But you know what? They can't edit out them tears from Mack. When Mack started crying because the marriage was coming to an end because they were getting divorced, and she's trying to say she didn't think Mack wanted the marriage, but he's sitting up here crying. So what? He's acting? This girl. The lies can keep on rolling out her mouth. We crowned Gina the biggest liar. It looks like that's who's going to win. I have to tally the votes. But we crowned her the biggest liar. But we might need to have a second contest between Dom and Gina for the final. Because let me tell you, Dom racked up some serious lies of this episode. And then she says, you know, I'm pretty honest. No, you're not. You dishonest. You the opposite of honest. You are dishonest. I'm telling you, she don't see herself. And then when they had this little group, a rendezvous, when they had to tell everybody that they were getting divorced, she says, I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel listened to. I didn't feel understood. Victim, 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 victim. I tell you, these are the type of people that never learn. When people are not willing to look at what they did and come up with anything they could have done differently. I'm not telling people they need to take responsibility for everything, because she doesn't. There's some things that Mack did. I tell you, he came in a relationship a little bit dishonest too. But the fact that you can walk away from a whole shindig like this is a big deal, getting married to a stranger on national TV. And you can walk away from this whole experience and you can't come up with one thing you could have done differently. You are not on a road to improvement. You are not on the road to improvement at all. And you see this not only in young people, but you see it also in older people. So, but Mack did accurately classify her and said this is a symptom of a younger person who doesn't know what she wants. But I'm going to say it's more than being young, where she flip-flops and doesn't know what she wants. Yeah, I'll stay. Yeah, I'll go. What it also is she's actually flip-flopping because she wants to look right in whatever scenario it is. She wants to look good. So it really isn't that she's indecisive, because her mind was really made up. She didn't want to be with Mack. She wasn't flip-flopping on the idea of being with Mack. What she was flip-flopping on was trying to show up to be a different person in different scenarios so she looks good. That's completely different. That's what I tell you, it's a morality issue. She says what she needs to say in order to get what she wants at that moment, or do what she wants in that moment. That's why we know she lies to her mama about things that go on in her relationships, so her mama can still think she's a mama's little precious girl, which is a lie. She blames other men in relationships, just like she was blaming Mack here. When she said yes, maybe to Nicole in the group setting, then she went back and blamed the group for putting pressure on her. That wasn't no pressure. They were just saying what they thought, what they feel. That's not pressure. That's not pressure at all. If you're so strong in your convictions, you stand up to it. No, her flip-flopping is not because she's young. Her flip-flopping is because she has a morality issue. She doesn't speak the truth and she's dishonest. And that's what liars do. Their story changes all the time. Her story is not changing because she's young. Her story is changing because she's a liar. And then when she asked Mack, well, we can be friends. Well, just before you said you didn't want to be friends. Now you want to be friends. Once again, another flip-flop. And good for Mack when he said, well, I don't want to be your friend. I didn't come on this show to make any new friends. I got enough friends back in California. He's like, I don't want to be your friend. And then this girl went around and said, well, I'm not going to put up with these jabs, this pettiness. I'm above it all. I like to rise above these vibrations. Girl, you down in the gutter. Why does she think she's so above everything? Why does she think that everybody's always got petty jabs with her? Why is she always talking about she doesn't want any of this juju around her? Bad vibes, bad vibrations. She's the bad vibe. She's the bad vibrations. Like I said in the beginning of this video, throw her back in the ocean. Catch and release. I know she know about that. Catch and release. Throw that catfish back in the ocean and let her keep swimming around. She said she doesn't want anyone to hate her, but she has been pushed to her limit. Her limit. 5 days is her limit. 5 days is her limit. 5 days in her limit. I probably couldn't even drive from California to Tennessee in 5 days unless I drove a nonstop. So I could have driven to Tennessee and she would have already been divorced. 5 days? 5 days to give a marriage? I don't know. It might have been more than 5 days. What was it? A week? I don't know. It was a very short amount of time. But anyway, as she reached her limit though, that's all I know, is she reached her limit really fast. She says she has to go on a soul searching journey. You're right. Go find your soul. Go find your soul. Most people need to discover their soul and figure out what's going on. She needs to start from ground one and go find a soul first, because let me tell you, she got a morality issue. I'm telling you, she has a morality issue. Mack said he wanted to find his forever wife. He came way out here to Tennessee to find his forever wife. Mack, like I said, call me. I'm here in California. I will hook you up. I know a lot of women that like to smoke weed and will love a man in the weed business. Be careful out here in California because there's a lot of women out here who use you for your weed. Now we're back with Gina and Clint. And let me tell you, Gina's back where she belongs, back in the salon, doing her thing. And I guess Gina changed her mind and decided to come on in and move in. But she says, I got my routine. I thought you was fun, outgoing, and adventurous, Gina. Now Gina worried about Clint messing up her routine. What routine, Gina? The one where you go every day and take HIIT classes? Gina ain't going taking no HIIT classes. I think Gina won the contest for being the biggest liar. If y'all missed my video on the game show, it was a fun little video. You got to vote for the biggest liar. Please be sure to check it out. I'll put the link at the end of this video. Be sure to check it out and vote, because I'm going to tally up the answers and do that in another video, maybe in a couple of days. But everybody that didn't get to take the poll, please take the poll. I'm gonna leave the links here in the description and comment box and link at the end of this video. So be sure to vote. But Clint was talking to his friend, throwing the frisbee. You know what? Clint really is trying to have a positive attitude. We were calling him a Mitch, but he's definitely more sharper than Mitch. He catches on sooner. He recovers better. You know what? I'm starting to like Clint a whole lot better. I really am. And you know what? Clint is actually starting to even look better physically, y'all. Is it just me? I'm telling you, when you start to like a person's insides, you start to actually like their outsides better. And I'm telling you, I'm even starting to like Clint's outsides better. It's not that I didn't think he was very unattractive. I just thought he didn't put much effort into his look when he showed up with that Men's Warehouse suit on at the wedding. I still think he could trim that beard a little bit, or trim that hair a little bit. And then he could be a Bradley Cooper. He could be a Bradley Cooper out here, get himself a little facial. Like I said, I don't know why Gina didn't book him an appointment in her salon. I really don't know why. Instead of talking about him, she should have just said, I'll put you down for Monday at 9 a.m. and I cleared my whole schedule for you. That's what she should have done. But his friend was saying, how's your new wife? Is she outdoorsy and adventurous? He said, yeah, we walked up a waterfall, but she really doesn't do anything outdoors. I told you, I know she didn't do nothing outdoors. She's talking about she's fun and adventurous. And here Clint says, no, she don't do too much outdoors. She's more into doing hair. I tell you what, if they did stay together, which I don't think they are, but if they did, there's a better chance that Clint would learn how to do color, a weave, a blow dry, a blowout, more so faster than Gina would learn to be adventurous. That's what I believe. I believe that if it came down to it, Clint would learn how to do all the things she knows how to do, doing hair, before she would learn how to do things that Clint likes to do, which is being adventurous. But Clint is trying to put a positive spin on things. He's trying to say, we got a really rough start. It was a wrong start. It was a bad start, but we're trying to recover from it. We're trying to recover from that punch. Talking about Gina's look was a punch in the gut for Gina. I'm telling you, it hit a sore spot. Now you know why she went after his looks first, because the truth of the matter is Gina's insecurities are all around her looks. All right. And that's what makes it so ironic that she goes in on his looks first, knowing that that is her weakest spot. But maybe this is how people fight. Maybe this is how people fight, that when they know what their weak spot is, they want to attack that same spot in someone else first. Right? Because they assume that's your weak spot. And she went in on Clint real early on in his looks. But now we come to find out, to be honest with you, Gina is more insecure about her looks than Clint is about his. Way more insecure. And when he punched her in the gut about that looks thing, it took her all the way out. She was knocked completely out. You know how you watch a match, and the punch comes in, that right hook comes in, and they fall to the floor, and the referee comes over and goes, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're out. That was the countdown on Gina. She was out. She's just now coming through. She's just now coming through from this knockout punch. So finally, she's starting to get a little bit of senses back. And she says, okay, I'll move in, but we'll sleep in separate bedrooms. That's fine, Gina, because what different? That's why I never understood why she could say we didn't need to be in the same apartment. Haven't we all slept in the same apartment with someone we didn't do? Did anybody go to college and you had to share a dorm room with a person you had never met except 1 hour ago? You never went on a group trip with people and you didn't know everybody in the group and you were sharing a house with them. What was she worried about sharing a house? Because like she said, I don't want you interrupting my routine, and I don't want you seeing things about me and learning things about me in my natural raw self, without makeup, without not all done up. Because I'm telling you, when you live with a person, you see them all kind of ways. And Gina didn't want Clint to see that. She was too big. The reason for not moving in had to do with protecting herself from any more ridicule. That's what it was about. It was protecting herself from any more ridicule because it's a sensitive spot in her. And if it's so sensitive, she needs to learn to stay away from that with other people. She needs to stay away from it. That's why I said, if you can't take the hit, stay away from it. She needs to never comment on anyone else's looks again, because the minute someone comes back onto that, she's going to get knocked out again. And we're going to be doing the countdown again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't do it, Gina. Stay away from it. But Clint says, you know what? Sometimes I can be brutally honest, and that's not the best thing. He needs to stay away from that. Good for you, Clint. He's learning. He's growing. And then he says, tell Gina that she also needs to not focus on the negative, because she focuses on the negative as well. So now they say they're trying to give it a shot. No, they're not. They in it for this check. And they probably told Gina, if you don't move into the apartment, you don't get paid. And you know she built a new hair salon, so she needs this check. If you built a new hair salon, you need this check. So she's like, okay, I guess I will move in. She came to her senses. They gave her some of that sniffing, smelling salt from being knocked out. She came to her senses, and now they're moving in. But it ain't going nowhere. But I will say this. I like a Clint a lot more than I like Gina. I like him a lot more than I like Gina. He still got a lot of things to work on. And the fact that later on we see him kissing Dom, that's an issue. Just like I said, the issue with Dom kissing him was an issue. That's the issue. I thought you guys are all supposed to be a family on this show. Once you're on Married at First Sight, you're like a new family. And here is a Clint gun going around and kissing Dom. And Dom, of all people, of the liar, Dom. So Clint is still not necessarily one of my favorite people, but I'm liking him better than like Gina. So I don't know if that says anything. Hey everyone, welcome to Married at First Sight, season 16, episode 8. And this is for the after party, y'all. This is the after party. And on the after party was Jasmin, Nicole, and Adam. And let me tell you, the biggest thing that went on in this after party was lying. Adam, I'm telling you, she racked up the lies. She acts like there's no tape, no footage. The biggest lie that Dom told in this whole after party was Keisha asked her, what would it have taken for you to give the marriage more time? And she said that if Mack would have sat down and said to her, I really want this marriage to work. I think we need some more time. I want to stick in the marriage. She would have stayed. Woo! This girl is a liar. I'm not going to go all the way in on Dom in this after party because I did a whole video on her. Be sure to watch my other videos on the individual couples. But I went all the way in on her because she is giving Gina and McKinley a run for their money in terms of lying. Especially Gina, because Gina has been crowned the #1 liar in this poll I've been doing. But Dom sure showed out on this after party. She came in playing the victim with her tears and everything, saying she's the victim. She is the victim of everyone out here. And she is so sad that she now has to walk around and say she is a divorced woman. She is sad to say that at 25 years old, she's got to run around in Nashville. And when she meets men and meets other people, the words have to come out of her mouth. I am a divorced woman. And let me tell you what else is going to be worse, Dom, besides saying you're a divorced woman. They're going to ask you, you're divorced. Why? What happened? Because that's every question people ask a divorced person is, why did you get divorced? And Dom's question, Dom is not going to have a good answer. Dom is not going to have a good answer. She's going to talk about she was on Married at First Sight. She was paired with a stranger. She's going to give this whole story. And then all those dates are going to go back and Google Married at First Sight season 16. They're going to watch the episodes and then they're going to ghost her and not call her back. They're going to ghost her and not call her back because they're going to realize she's a liar. And that when she describes situations, they're not the situation at all. Dom is probably not going to be married until probably she's almost, I don't know, maybe 32, because she's going to need a lot of years to prove to people that she's changed, she's grown, and she's learned. No one's going to believe that after 1 year that she's changed and grown. No man's going to date her seriously. They're not going to believe it. They won't believe it because they're going to look at this tape and they're going to realize she needs a lot of work. And they're going to believe, how could you get through all that work in 1 year? She ain't going to get married till she's about 32, y'all. 32. It's not, and that's not old. So she got time. She got time to just get married and have babies right away. She got time. But it's going to be a long time before somebody want to marry a Dom. A long time. But they showed Jasmin that clip with Felina saying how to, and Jasmin confirmed, I didn't want her at my party. I don't like that woman. I do not like that woman that doesn't like wearing a bra and who hates me for no reason. Came to the wedding hating me before she even met me. How you gonna hate somebody before you even met them? Felina hated Jasmin before she even saw Jasmin, and then she just started coming up with different things to hate her more. She hated her in that little foyer when she was talking to Airris. She hated that girl already. She just hated the thought of her. Felina is something else. But Jasmin said she don't care. I praised Jasmin in my video for standing up and not inviting all that hate into your house. Jasmin was already dealing with enough of the attitude of Airris. Why Jasmin need to be a tag team between the cousin and Airris in her own home on her housewarming party? I'm with Jasmin. I wouldn't have invited all that into my house at one time. Airris is a handful himself. Or why would you want to invite this other girl, Felina, there as well to double team and double team on you? Jasmin would have been outmatched. I agree with her. Invitation revoked. But Jasmin said, you know what? She gets along well with Airris's mother. She talks to her all the time. She loves Airris's mother. Jasmin seemed to think that Felina's advice was going on to have sex with your husband was good advice. But Jasmin did say, I didn't just want to have sex to have sex. But Jasmin, that wasn't good advice because Felina was setting you up. I said this in my video. The only reason Felina was trying to say, go ahead and have sex with your husband, be because she already knew that Airris didn't like Jasmin. If Airris really liked Jasmin, she would not have been encouraging him to have sex with her because she wouldn't have wanted that to happen. The only reason why Felina was encouraging Airris to have sex with Jasmin because she wanted Airris to dog out Jasmin, have sex with her and leave her and dump her. That's what she wanted. She wanted some tread tracks on the back of Jasmin's back because that's what happens to Felina out here in the world. A man sleep with her and then dump her. And she wanted Jasmin to have the same fate. She wasn't looking out for Jasmin. All the hate she has for Jasmin, and all of a sudden now she's trying to give Airris words to make his marriage work. Girl, get out of here. You was encouraging this man to do what you normally do, Airris, sleep with them and leave them. Why you not sleeping with her why you not sleeping with her and leaving her like you do all the other women? Why you not using her body like you use all the other women? You don't care about none of them, so why don't you go ahead and do the same thing with her? Sleep with her and then leave her. That's what she was encouraging. It had nothing to do with looking out for Jasmin. Not at all. Nicole says she's surprised by Airris's not being attracted to Jasmin. Everybody's surprised. Let me tell you, Jasmin's negatives are not so negative that he should have this much blockage. But Nicole said he has blocked himself from caring from Jasmin. Bingo. It doesn't matter who would have showed up here on this screen, y'all. Airris wouldn't have been attracted to him. It doesn't matter who would have showed up. And even if he was physically attracted to them, he would have had problems in the marriage. Airris's problems go way beyond physical attraction and looks with a woman. It is clear as day that his problems are well beyond being physically attracted to a woman. He's 39 years old. If the problem was just a physical attraction, he would have already been with someone. He's lived in California. Tons of beautiful women in California. You mean to tell me he ain't rolled up on no beautiful woman before? You mean to tell me he hasn't had sex or been in a relationship with a woman he thought was physically attracted? What happened, Airris? What happened? It's not about physical looks. I'm tired of him even saying that because that puts all the work on the woman. It puts all the work on you, the problem. You're not physically attractive to me. Well, what do you need to do, Airris? Nothing. If I can just tell you I'm not attracted to you because you're not physically attractive, then there's nothing for me to do. I can just walk around and say this all the time. Ugh. Y'all know that's my pet peeve. My pet peeve is people who don't want to acknowledge when they need to do changes and make improvements to themselves. That is my pet peeve. And Airris is on it. Ugh. He pokes that finger into my sensitive spot all the time. But Dom got on here lying and trying to act, talking about getting a decision was the toughest decision she ever made in her life. Girl, it was not the toughest decision. Dom made this decision to end her marriage in all of 5 days. All of 5 days, y'all. It took me a longer than 5 days to pick out my health care plan. And this girl came to the decision to end her marriage, but yet it was the hardest decision of her life. So the hardest decision of your life, you came to the conclusion all in 5 days. I take longer than 5 days to figure out where I want to go on vacation. Woo, I take longer than 5 days to figure out what I'm going to serve at this next party I'm going to have. And she said she made a whole decision to leave a marriage in 5 days, but it was the hardest decision of her life. And she over here crying about it. No, she's not. She's over here crying because now on this after party, she's already started to get some of the backlash from friends and family and other people. That's why she's crying. She's crying now because she knows she looks bad. That's why she's crying. She's not crying because she's all sad over, girl, I'm so done with Dom. I watched my video on her. I really go in on her. She sat up here and said that what really broke the straw that broke the camel's back when she knew she wanted a divorce was because Mack didn't stand up for himself. That's what she said. And that he didn't say he wanted a divorce when she knew he really did. So she had to speak up for both of them. Well, you just said that if he would have said he wanted to stay in the marriage, you would have stayed. So he obviously was saying he wanted to stay in the marriage. So in one way, he was saying he wanted to stay in the marriage, but then you clown him and punk him for saying that because you say he really wanted to be out of the marriage. And so you had to speak up and speak for him too. So now all of a sudden, you blaming him for wanting to be out of the marriage. And now all of a sudden you speaking up for him. Girl, get out of here. You just said you didn't want to do nothing for him, but now you want to speak for him. Didn't all episode and season long the honeymoon, she kept saying how she don't want to be his cheerleader. She don't want to do nothing for him. She don't want to prop him up. But then when it comes to time to getting divorced, she says, I'm willing to speak for you. This girl is something else. So she picks and chooses when she wants to do something for Mack and stand up for him. No. Once again, she wasn't doing nothing for Mack. She was doing it for herself. Talking about she was speaking on his behalf. This girl know how to spin a lie. And she thinks I believe it. Girl, I'm not 25. I know a lie when I see it. I know a lie when I see it and hear it. And this is a lie. Nicole tried to speak something to her. Say, you know what? Sometimes the marriage would have been even more for you. You would have learned something about yourself. I do believe that. I think Don would have been better off staying in the marriage, waiting to the end and getting a divorce, because I think she would have learned something about herself. Because one thing I realized in this episode was she is very, very unaware of who she is. She thinks she's done nothing wrong. She thinks she has nothing to prove. Even when people ask her, could you have done anything differently? She says no. Another one of my pet peeves. You couldn't have done anything differently? Nothing at all? Nothing at all? You've gone through a whole marriage and you haven't come up with anything you could have done differently? She's more than young, y'all. She's acting dumb. She is more than young. She's acting dumb. And like I talk about my video with her, I think she got a morality issue. She does a whole lot of lying and a whole lot of taking no accountability. And to me, that's more than being young. That's also a morality issue. But no, Nicole is coming on here talking about how she was afraid to run over, that she was going to run all over Chris. But she said she learned something. So in between the filming and in between this after party, she says she has learned that her husband actually does know how to speak his mind. I said that. I knew that. But what he's not willing to do is scream and yell and say something 10, 15 times. That's a completely different thing. Just because I don't want to yell and scream and say the same things 15 different times, it doesn't mean I don't tell you what I want. And what she says she's learned is that when he's ambivalent or indifferent to something, he just says, I don't care. You can do what you want. It's like someone saying, oh, what do you want for dinner? I don't care. Whatever you get, I'll eat it. Doesn't matter. I'll get whatever you want. But when I really want tacos, or when I really want, Italian food, or I really want Greek food, or I really want sushi, I say it. I want sushi. I want a Greek food. I want to go to this restaurant. I say it. But when I really don't care, I go, you know what? I don't care. We can go wherever you want to go. That doesn't mean I don't stand up for myself. That just means everything ain't worth a fighting for. And I don't know. I guess Nicole has been in such relationships where she's always got to fight for everything, because she probably goes out and dates men who are just like her. And now she doesn't understand when a lot of people don't care about all this little petty stuff, what the theme of a party is. Chris don't care what the theme of this party was. That don't mean he's a pushover. But Jasmin did say she was kind of mad at Mack for bringing up the question in that little group party about who's not having sex, because she let us know that Mack and Airris are probably two of the closest people on the show, and they talk all the time. So Mack was clearly aware that they weren't having sex. So why did he bring it up? He brought it up because production told him to bring it up. Mack didn't come up with that question on his own. Production told him, ask this question, and he did what he was told. And I can believe that Airris and Mack are still good friends, because they're probably out here in California still being friends, hanging around, or smoking weed, chasing women in Mack's Corvette. I know they good friends. They probably are really good friends. And then Dom kept trying to tell us she was all sad about the marriage coming to end, because Dom tells us a story about after Pastor Cal left, she called Mack back and said, well, maybe we can make this work. And she said, Mack said, I thank you, but no thank you. So that's what she said, was the fact that he was the one that really wanted to break off the marriage, or broke off the marriage. Well, this is all after you said you wanted to break off. I thought you said that he wanted to break off the marriage first. And so you just said what he wanted you to say. Now we're finding that the story is, no, you wanted to break off the marriage. He didn't. But then when you came back, he said, you told him, oh, well, we can make it work, maybe. And he said, oh, no, thank you. And now all of a sudden it's his fault too. No, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. And first of all, he already knew that your maybe was a lie. He already knew that someone must have said something to you, give it a chance. And that's the reason why you came back in. But he knew you didn't want to make this marriage worse. And he said, I know I don't need you wasting any more of my time, because I'm already out here in Tennessee. I'm missing all my money from my cannabis business in California. And I need to pack my bags and get back to California and keep making this cannabis money, because you are not worth the trip to Tennessee. That ain't the same thing. And she even said when they first went to this little group dinner, Mack pulled her aside and said, hey, let's go to the group dinner and let's just make it seem like it's a mutual decision. And we all saw that. We saw them when Mack first opened it up. He was saying, hey, it's a mutual decision of this and that. And I think Mack was trying to cover up for her. He was actually throwing her an olive branch, because he was trying not to let everything fall on her. But then she criticized him and said, well, as soon as I started talking, he threw me under the bus and started saying, I want the divorce. Well, he threw you under the bus because when you started opening up your mouth, you started talking about him. So of course he threw you under the bus. He went in with a game plan saying, let's both take equal accountability. But then when you went into the dinner and giving your explanation, you were doing what you do best. You was putting all the work on him. So what he said was, well, dang, if you're going to go back to blaming me for it, I'm going to go back to blaming you for it. She is such a hypocrite. Such a hypocrite. But then when the punch comes back, she plays the victim and she cries. This is her MO her whole life. And Jasmin and Nicole sat up here and believed her story and took the bait and, believed this story. But wait till they see the whole series. They'll flip back. They believe Dom's story here on this after party, but after they watch the whole series like we're watching it and they get to see everything, they'll realize she was lying to them there on that stage of the after party as well. And don't believe the story that Mack wanted the divorce and he was ready to give up after 5 days. Give me a break. It takes longer for mold to grow on bread. It takes longer than 5 days for mold to grow on bread than what Dom gave this marriage a chance. I ain't even got no mold on the bread in the amount of time it takes her to give up on this marriage. Dom said, you know what? She doesn't believe her age is a reason why she's not married. She's been wanting to be married. She thinks she's ready. She thinks that people classify her as just because she's 25. No, that's not it. That's not it. Nope, not at all. We are not I am not saying she's not ready for marriage because she is 25 years old. I'm saying she's not ready to marriage because of things I said in that video. I think she's a liar. I think she doesn't know who she is. I think she plays dumb. I think she's got morality issues in many of the areas. I think she's selfish, and I think she's a hypocrite. None of that has to do with her being 25, because let me tell you something. There's a lot of old people who have some of those same characteristics. So if she thinks just getting older will not make her all those things, that's not true. So I don't say it's because she's only 25. Some things maybe because she's only 25, she doesn't know what she wants. But these morality issues, this being hypocritical, this lying stuff has nothing to do with being 25, because you don't have to be these things at 25 years old. You really don't have to be these things. Anyway, that's it. Be sure to watch my other videos, y'all, and I will talk to you later. Bye.